Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished members of the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme. Members, indeed, you are welcome. It's because of you that we are here this afternoon. Indeed, everybody is welcome. This is part of the education drive by the Education Committee of the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme, and we invite everybody to be on here. If you are a member of the scheme and you are here, please call another member to be here so that we can share this kind of information. Oh, welcome indeed. All board members, welcome service providers, welcome. I can see the regulators here as well. You are all welcome once again. We need to start this program with a prayer. So I call on Miss Hilda Adubia Owusu, the head of operations, Enterprise Trustees Limited. My dear sister, please lead us to the Supreme Being. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Franklin. Shall we pray? Our Lord and Heavenly Father, we thank you for this meeting. We thank you that you were part of the planning, and even as we are gathered here, you are here with us as well. We pray, Lord, that you, Lord, will order our steps through the meeting, and the meeting will be fruitful and will serve the purpose for which it has been set up. This we ask in Jesus' name, we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you, my dear sister, for giving us that wonderful prayer. We need to know who is here. And to do that honors for us, I invite, a dear brother, a brother from another mother, Peter Obreyabua. You are welcome to introduce who is here. But let me first introduce you. You are a deputy director at the HR department of Ghana Health Service. Peter, please do us the honors by introducing who is here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Good afternoon to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, in the next few minutes, I will introduce to you two important groups of persons who are taking part in this webinar. The first group is made up of individuals nominated by the appropriate institutions to constitute the Board of Trustees for the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme, pursuant to Section 120 of the National Pensions Act 2008 at 766 as amended. So the first we have on our list is Dr. Derek Amwatin. Dr. Amwatin is a staff of the Ghana Health Service, obstetrician gynecologist, and the chairman of the scheme. He has been at the helm of affairs since January 2018, and he's done so well to bring the scheme to its current state. He's assisted as the vice chairman on the board by Dr. Kwabena Opoku Edusei, who is currently the director of the College of Health, Kintampo. We also have the beautiful Perpetual Ofuri Ampofu, Mrs., who is the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association as the member secretary of the board. And she is assisted by Mrs. Grace Upon Dolphy, a principal state attorney and a representative of the Attorney General's Department on the board. There comes my good brother, Franklin Owusu Ansah, the General Secretary of the Health Services Workers Union. We also have Mr. Oscar Emisa, a chief pharmacist at the Regional Health Western Region and a representative of GOSPA on the Board of Trustees. Then we have Mr. Gaten Charles Adangabe, a chief physiotherapist and a member of the Health Services Workers Union. There comes Mr. Alexander Nanache, who is the general manager for Wenchi Methodist Hospital and a member of the Health Services Workers Union as a member. Another member is Mr. David Tenkran Chum, the current General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. And then we have Mr. Emmanuel Yawapia, the President of the Physician Assistant Association of Ghana, also a member. Mr. Solomon Osei Jamra is a representative of the Ministry of Finance, serving on the Board of Trustees as a member. Lawyer Hamidu Adakrugu is the Director of Administration at the Ministry of Health. He represents the ministry on the Board of Trustees. Then my good brother, Lawyer Dr. Justice Jansen, the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, is also serving on the Board of Trustees. Then, as required by law, we have our independent trustee in the person of Mr. Andrews Agrobi, who is a board member. And finally, my good self, Peter Obriyeboa, an employee of the Ghana Health Service, also as a member. Aside this Board of Trustees, who are all on this program, we have two important personalities who are gracing this program. The first person we have is Mr. Hayford Atta-Krufi. Mr. Atta-Krufi is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Pensions Authority. This is the institution set up by law to oversee all matters relating to the administration of pensions in Ghana. And finally, we have Mr. Joseph Wachedankwa Ampofo, affectionately called the Big Joe, who is the Managing Director of Enterprise Trustees Limited, the scheme administrators. Ladies and gentlemen, you are once again welcome to the Health Sector Occupational Pension Schemes webinar, and I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you, my brother from another mother. Oh, Honorable Chairman, anytime we go to meetings, you welcome us to the meeting. Today, I'm going to welcome you. You are most welcome onto this webinar. In fact, if you are listening, wow, if you are listening, make sure you call your friend to also call another brother and another sister to join us so that we can all hear what is going on. Dr. Derek Amwating, you are kindly invited to welcome all of us once again. But before you do that, all participants, please note that there is a Q&A button on your screen. Please, if you have questions relating to Tier 2, you can even begin to type the questions in there. But at this time, Doctor, you are welcome to welcome us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Franklin, and thank you all very much for this special occasion. We have desired to have this over some time now, and it's a heart relief that finally we can have this webinar. So I want to say good afternoon to everybody. It's such a great privilege to welcome you to the maiden edition of a series of virtual engagements we intend to do with members and stakeholders of the health sector occupational pension scheme, as well as the general population on matters relating to this to the 3-tier pension scheme, especially Tier 2. The health sector occupational pension scheme is actually a Tier 2 pension scheme solely responsible for health sector workers' lump sum. In the last 3 years, trustees of the scheme have actually engaged middle and upper level, senior level leaders in all sectors of the health sector, as well as many members from various unions and service points, all with the singular aim of educating the members and helping same to properly enroll, to check on the progress of their contributions, to update or nominate beneficiaries, and all other issues as may be required. And this task has been Herculean, actually, looking at the diverse nature of the scheme and the broad and widespread members are looking at, health sector members all over the country with facilities scattered all over the country. Nonetheless, we have visited many major gatherings in the health sector in all regions and many districts in a bid to reach out to contributors. Even with all these, there still remain a lot of people who are completely at sea when it comes to the health sector, occupational pension scheme, and the 3-tier pension schemes. And because of that, we decided to hold this webinar. And as we all know, COVID-19 pandemic has taught us a great lesson, which we cannot run away from. That is the power of virtual engagement. And it is in the light of this that the Education Committee of the Board of Trustees of the scheme decided to engage all of us with a singular theme of Tier 2 pension contribution and matters arising, a must know. Knowledge we know is power, and intentional knowledge builds up and empowers people to progress. These are basic pearls that will help us all properly position ourselves to benefit fully from the new tier 3-tier pension strategy. This new strategy, although has been in existence for over 11 years, has more or less only started making significant payments in the last 1 year. The initial stages were fraught with many challenges, with consequent delays in remitting benefits, but we have made substantial progress. And we are working further to make it as seamless as possible and enhance its efficacy. All these will require your input, members, as we work towards enhancing member interest in the scheme, as well as in pensions in totality. Retirements are critical periods in the life of everyone, and it serves as a period of break where we can which can actually be associated with a lot of reliefs as well as frustrations. Our response to what happens to us in retirement is largely dependent on what we do by way of preparation towards pensions or towards our retirement. What specific arrangement have you made towards your pension or towards your retirement as it gets close? More often than not, we go into retirement and we're close to no preparation whatsoever, and we are left frustrated and dependent on others. This is where the 3-tier pension strategy has come in handy. It gives you control of your pensions by putting you in charge. It impresses on you to take control of your life by investing in your future. A well-balanced 3-tier pension is always coupled with a personal pension or a 3rd tier, which allows you to grow and ultimately ensure the truest retirement income security. The health sector occupational pension scheme is set for you. We come to ensure that your Tier 2 pension is without question. We exist to ensure retirement income security for all health sector workers in Ghana. And by this, we seek to secure health sector Tier 2 pension contributions, ensure appreciable growth, pay appropriate lump sum benefit to members upon retirement. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to this webinar. Let's all engage to have a successful webinar. Thank you all and God bless you. Thank you very much. Franklin, you may take over.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the education you have just given to all of us. Indeed, you have refreshed all of us our memories of what we need to do to take over our own pensions. I will at this time invite Mr. Hayford Atakrufi, Chief Executive Officer for National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Once you are here, big brother, you take the floor to address our cherished members of the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme. You are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Franklin, and thanks for the opportunity. Distinguished invited guests, the chairman and the members of the trust board and the service providers of the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme, and all present. Thank you very much, and I deem it a great honor and a privilege to address this webinar. Tier 2 pensions the business in which you find yourselves is a great innovation of the three-tier pension system. Before the Act 76 from where you draw your authority, before it was passed, we all know how PNDC Law 247 gave the entire autonomy of pension administration to SNET. And so 25% was carved out of the contribution of 17.5 to pay for lump sum. Of course, we are all aware of the agitations that gave rise to the Act 76's promulgation. So after the Act, obviously, we know 5% of your contributors, or the workers' 5.5%, was carved out to take care of the lump sum that the 25% of contribution to SNET would have done. And this is the innovation of the Tier 2. So it is our 5% contribution which you are managing for on our behalf to ensure our retirement income security. Obviously, because this is a defined contribution scheme, there's a lot of risk involved in the sense that the risk is no longer on the employer or the sponsor of the scheme. The risk is with the contributor. And that's the reason why the beautiful arrangement of contributors, the employer, and an independent trustee, put together constitutes the kind of board that you have. And I always say this is a very, very beautiful arrangement whereby the people who the risk resides with, being the contributors, you have a good number on the trust board to ensure that the risk is managed and managed effectively. And a lot, obviously, as a defined contribution scheme, a lot depends on investment experience, because it is your contribution and your investment returns that determines the size of the lump sum that you take home with you. Of course, the investment experience as far as Tier 2 hasn't been that great. And why do I say that? The law in itself, when it was passed, anticipated delays in licensing trustees and registering schemes, so that from day one, the investment will go along as expected. So because of that, the law put in under Section 218 the establishment of the temporary pension fund account, into which contributions were put pending the licensing of trustees and registration of schemes. Now, TPFA was attracting growth at TB rates, obviously. And we all know that from 2016, I believe, when the controller started transferring the contributions directly to your scheme. And then from December 2017, when MPRA also transferred the TPFA components onto your scheme. It is only from that time that the decision on investment passed onto the trust board to make effective, to take effective control of investment instruments that you would want your funds to participate in. So obviously there have been some delays, and naturally for a good part of 7 years, your Tier 2 contributions only attracted growth at TB rate. I believe from January 2018 that when the MPRA transferred components came, that it started attracting growth at Government of Ghana bond at about, I believe, 19.7 or so. So from that time on, the prudential management of your scheme has been with you, the trust board. The governance of the scheme has been with you, to the trust board. And you are also responsible to ensure that the service providers that you appointed perform effective market conduct to ensure that the scheme runs smoothly. Of course, we know in 2020 the decumulation started, and you did your best as a scheme, initially because it hit us, especially in the times of COVID and other things. We had to instruct the payment of benefits at 80% before finally giving the approval to go for the other 20% to do the 100%. Of course, the starting had issues of data issues, COVID didn't help the situation, and all those things. But I believe with the experience of 2020, you are now in a position to be able to not only administer the scheme going forward, but also be able to pay benefits without any let or hindrance. So it's been a wonderful journey so far, and I'm glad that you have put this webinar together as a way of information, because oftentimes what we lack is how we can communicate with our members for them to know exactly where they stand, their understanding of the contribution that they're making and how pension is going to look like. I like how you define it, a need to know. So very, very, very important, all you need to know. So I'm glad. The tier 2, of course, we all know that last year, TUC challenged the efficacy of tier 2. And that challenge comes to us as trust board. We have to prove beyond all reasonable doubt to the contributor that his or her tier 2 will indeed give him or her the retirement income security that the 3-tier pension promised. You know, we have to have a way of responding to that and proving. And of course, the only way you can prove this will be through effective governance and also effective prudential management, including investment, so that when people take their lump sum, they will know that they have the income security that has been promised them. So let's make the tier 2, the innovation of tier 2, work for us. Let's all put our shoulders to the wheel and make it work. Also, most importantly, I know we're talking about tier 2, but let me also take this opportunity before I leave to say that the icing on the cake to ensure effective retirement income security will be the top-up of tier 3. I know it's voluntary, so the various unions that constitute the health sector occupational pension scheme, please, you should lead the conversation with your various members for voluntary top-up contribution. I know some of the unions within you have started that. We are not utilizing the 16.5%, which the law allows us to use for our pension benefits. So let me take this opportunity, even though I'm deviating from tier 2 into tier 3, but it's very important for me that you talk to your members to ensure that they can utilize the provisions in the law. I wish you a very successful deliberation, and if time permits, I'll stay with you and enjoy the rest of the discussion. Thank you very much for this opportunity. God bless.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you are already in the mood to ask questions. We hope that you will not go, as you said, you will stay with us, because I have already seen some questions at the Q&A side, and I want to believe you will be with us to answer some of these questions. That notwithstanding, I still want to believe. Thank you, thank you. But at this time, let me also invite the scheme administrator, the managing director of Enterprise Trustees Limited, Mr. Joseph Wachidankwa Ampofo. Wow, Wachidankwa Ampofo. My brother, you are invited to talk to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'm truly, it's one of the exciting moments for me in this journey that we started with the health sector group. And I mean, to all health workers, I dab my hat to you. These are challenging times, but I know truly well that you are putting your hearts out. I know the surge has gone up and you're at more risk, but then you go day in, day out, just trying to make sure that that ordinary Ghanaian, you know, has the best of care. So kudos to all health workers in Ghana. But quite clearly, today we are talking about your retirement and what is it that you need to do to ensure that you can be able to fulfill the retirement income security. Yes, we started this journey with you in 2012. We are administrators. We are in charge of trying to make sure that your day-to-day, from the perspective of a health worker, you can be able to view your statements, you can check and look at how you are going. You can also be able to do enrollment if you're a facility person. So these are the ways and manner that we help with this scheme. And we do know that yes, there have been some challenges, but as we go, it's a journey, and we are happy that we are surmounting them as we carry on. But we encourage all health workers to take advantage of these educational platforms. We've set up quite a number of them. I'm happy that the Educational Committee has been doing some engagements throughout the regions in Ghana. And to help the purpose, we've also developed what we call the Pensions Express. So you see now a brightly monitored outdoor branded vehicle, which now attracts people to these kinds of occasions and at least trying to help to propel the information that is out there. But for us, at Enterprise Trustees, what have we also done? We realized that one of the key functions of Tier 2, or this whole reform, we need to unlock certain things within it to the benefit of the retiree. And one of the big things that sits within this new reform or three-tier pension scheme is the issue of mortgages. And quite clearly, what this the bigger difference between Act 766 and PNDC Law 247 was the fact that you could assign your benefits in a Tier 2 for the purposes of a mortgage. But we've not been able to do that. And thankfully, Enterprise Trustees, your administrator, has been able to engage some financial institutions who are now willing to be able to accept, so far as you have 20% as a balance sitting in your account, to be able to access a mortgage. This is telling and very, 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 for me, it's one of the game changers in our industry going forward. Because what it means is that we can now build up a fund and be able to access a mortgage and not wait until when we are 60 to take a lump sum to be able to go and make payment, to go and buy a house. So please, all health workers in Ghana, this is now an opportunity for those of us who are young, 25, 30, 35, 40, please, it is not over. You don't have to wait until you've grown old, taking a retirement lump sum now to go and purchase a home. It is now possible for you to access these kinds of facilities that we are putting together. And I'm happy that as your administrator, this is one of the things that we bring to the joint venture that we have to be able to benefit all health workers. So I'm excited that today, I mean, Chairman is aware about it, but quite clearly we are willing to be able to extend this facility to the health sector workers such that they can also make it. But the point is that you've got to build up that fund, and to make it better, that is how come you need to also build up a Tier 3 fund such that you can even have a much better choice. So I won't take too much. Today is your day. Today is a day when we actually get to understand a little bit more of the scheme. But for me, it's exciting. COVID has also brought about the issue of digital engagement. And this scheme is one of the bigger, if I look at the public sector schemes, one of the schemes that is always at the forefront of the digital space. We were the first to launch a website. We'll be able to do it. We are now also doing these webinar series, and I think it's all based to the kudos of those in charge, Chairman and Perpetual and others who are always pushing the boundaries. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And like you said, I'm ready, and I'm always ready to take on questions as and when they come up. But at the end of the day, we believe that the health sector occupational pension scheme is the best public sector scheme that is being managed. And I believe that my regulator who came on board knows very well that this scheme always tries to be very compliant in all the things that they do. So once my boss has also spoken, I cannot even speak anymore. So over to you, Franklin, to be able to take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for that compliment, we are the best. In the health sector, we are doing very well to save lives. But this tells you that whatever we do it and do it very, very, very well. We are at the peak of this webinar. And for that matter, we are going to hear a presentation on Tier 2 pensions, contributions, and related matters. I must know, who do you want to hear and what do you want to know? And at this time, I am humbled to invite the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Mrs. Perpetua Ofori Ampofo. Pep, you are welcome to give us a presentation, or I'll say the major presentation today. You are warmly welcome.
Thank you very much, Franklin. I am now going to try and share.
Yes, as Pep is trying to share, be remembered that the Q&A button is there. Please drop in your questions, your suggestions, your comments. And somebody will attend to you. Definitely, all your questions will be answered today. As we wait for the presentation to be set up, please do remember to call somebody who is also a member to join us. Call a friend, to call a friend, to call a member, that we are live. Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme. Come and hear.
I hope you can all see this slide. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. And we are proud as Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme, and more so the Education Committee, to bring to you the discussion on Tier 2 pension contributions and related matters, a must know. And indeed, there are a lot of things you need to know, and we hope that you will learn a thing or two from this webinar. So this is the outline of the presentation today. We'll give you an overview of the 3-tier pension scheme. We'll talk about the structure of the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme. We'll give you an update on the status of the scheme, the benefits payment process, how to access your accounts, and how to contact the scheme. And of course, we'll have a Q&A session where we believe you'll be dropping all your questions in the chat box, the Q&A box, so that we can pick them from there and answer them for you. So let us zoom in straight into business. And I'm going to talk about the 3-tier pension scheme, just an overview though. So the 3-tier pension scheme came about due to agitations by public servants and worker organizations or trade unions in 2004. Following these, the Bediako Commission was instituted to look into matters of pensions because the agitations were that Cap 30 was higher, Senate was lower. How do we get to a level where everybody can appreciate the pensions? So the work of the commission was finally over in March 2006, following which the government white paper was issued in July 2006. And the three-tier pension scheme was commissioned in September 2009, following which the three-tier pension scheme was implemented on 1st January 2010. And in 2011, the accompanying regulations were also passed by Parliament. So that is how come we have the three-tier pension scheme. And it is tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So tier 1 is a mandatory scheme and it is managed by Senate. And then we have tier 2, which is also a mandatory scheme and it is privately managed by licensed approved trustees and other licensed players. So the health sector occupational pension scheme that we are bringing to you this afternoon is a tier 2 scheme. And for that matter, it is a mandatory occupational pension scheme. Then we have tier 3. And that is what the CEO of National Pensions Regulatory Authority, Mr. Hayford Atta Kofi, spoke brilliantly about. It is a voluntary personal pension scheme, and it is also privately managed by licensed approved trustees. And it's important that we take advantage of it because of the 16.5% income that we could get in terms of putting monies under or putting funds in the tier 3. So that is about the three-tier pension scheme. So now, what is the health sector occupational pension scheme? It is a second-tier pension scheme and an employer-sponsored scheme for all employees in the public health sector of Ghana. And in fact, it also includes some private health organizations. It is a defined contribution scheme, which means that you get what you contribute plus the returns that you gain on those contributions. And as we go along, I'll explain this better. So who are the members of the scheme? Just like I said earlier, members of the health sector occupational pension scheme are all employees within the Ministry of Health, and therefore it's Ministry of Health and its agencies. So we are talking about Ghana Health Service, we are talking about the teaching hospitals, faith-based health facilities, that is CHAG, that is employees on the government payroll, and then of course employees in health facilities who are also paid through the internally generated fund. And we usually refer to them as IGF staff, or they are the casual workers in these facilities. So in fact, the scheme covers every individual who is within the health sector. And it's therefore covers doctors, nurses, pharmacists, orderlies, mortuary men, whoever, everybody within the health sector is covered by this scheme. And it is a tier 2 scheme. So now let's look at the structure of the scheme. The health sector occupational pension scheme is governed by the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, which is the NPRA. And I must say we are lucky to have the CEO with us today. He's a very busy man, regulating all the pension schemes in Ghana, especially the tier 2 and the tier 3 schemes. But we are very happy that he's here with us and has found time to be here. So the NPRA sits at the top, and then we have the Board of Trustees. At the beginning of this webinar, our comrade, Mr. Peter Obri, will introduce all the members of the Board of Trustees. It's a 15-member board, and it includes an independent trustee. So the Board of Trustees, if you listened well to the introduction, you realize are working in various fields. And because of that, we cannot be doing the daily management or daily administration of the scheme. And therefore, we work with scheme providers who aid us to manage the scheme as it should be. So first we have the scheme administrator, and the scheme administrator is Enterprise Trustees Limited. So what do they do as scheme administrators? They ensure the scheme administration, they keep member records, they credit individual accounts with contributions that come in monthly, and they also process benefits of contributors who go on retirement or at any point where they are mandated to claim their benefits, they process those benefits. We also work with 2 fund managers. These are Bora Capital Advisors and Delta Capital Limited. And what do they do as fund managers? They advise the board on investment strategies and potential investment instruments. And let me say this, although they are fund managers, they do not take those decisions in terms of what or in what to invest. Those decisions are taken by the board. They only advise, and if we think that it's a good advice, we take it and also ensure that those investments are made. We also have a pension fund custodian, which is Cal Bank Limited, and in fact, it's Cal Bank Custody that ensures the safekeeping of our funds. So they keep the assets records of the scheme. So every investment that we make, all the records in terms of the certificates and everything are kept by Cal Bank. It is their work as a custodian. They also hold scheme assets and all accounts, and they also effect payments, they settle investment transactions, and they receive contributions directly for contributors into the custody account. So every month, your contribution that has to come as your tier 2 contribution from controller disburses the money and it goes straight to the custodian account. Therefore, it goes straight to Cal Bank. Beyond these service providers, we also have 3 standing committees that work for the Board of Trustees. And one is the Benefit Claim Committee. The Benefit Claim Committee is the committee that is tasked to process all the benefit claims or all the applications that come in. And once it's approved, they ensure that the receiver or the applicant or the claimant receives the benefits that is due him or her. We also have the Education Committee, and the Education Committee is tasked to educate contributors and in fact all management heads about the Tier 2 scheme, which is Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme. And the Education Committee is also tasked to ensure that the website of the scheme is periodically updated and whatever news that needs to get to contributors are also posted on the website. And in terms of educating contributors, that is why we have taken it upon ourselves as Education Committee to roll out these webinars to educate contributors of the scheme so that they will be at the same level with us in terms of the knowledge surrounding the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme and their Tier 2 contributions. The last but not the least is the Investment Committee. The Investment Committee is tasked to do the day-to-day investments of the scheme. So what the Investment Committee does is that on daily basis, they get information from the fund managers as to which securities are available for investments. The Investment Committee then deliberates on it, and if they think that it is good, it is good in terms of less risk and all that, they give the approval. And once that approval is given, the custodian, which is Cal Bank, is tasked to release funds to the fund managers to invest. So basically, this is the structure of the scheme. So somebody will ask, how is the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme funded? If you have listened well, you see that the funding of the scheme is basically through the contributions that you and I make into this Tier 2 fund. And beyond the Tier 2, as I mentioned earlier, there's also Tier 1. So Tier 1, as you already know, and Tier 2, as you already know, are both mandatory schemes. Tier 1 is managed by SNIT, and that is what you will gain after retirement. That is what SNIT will pay to you as your monthly retirement. And then we have Tier 2, which is privately managed by licensed approved trustees and other players. So this is how we all contribute to both Tier 1 and Tier 2. At the end of every month, we contribute 5.5% of our basic salaries as a contribution towards our Tier 1 and our Tier 2. So this is a simple computation, and you will see it on your payslip. And for IGF staff, they will not see it, but they must know that 5.5% of their basic salary goes into their Tier 1 and their Tier 2. Now, the employer is expected to also contribute 13% of our basic salaries as a contribution towards our Tier 1 and our Tier 2. So altogether, when you put the 5.5% and the 13% together, it amounts to 18.5%. 18.5%. And then this is how that 18.5% is disbursed. So the distribution of the 18.5% is such that 13.5% goes to Tier 1. And out of this, 11% goes to SNIT for the management of our Tier 1. And then 2.5% goes to the National Health Insurance Levy to cover health insurance for us. And then 5% comes to Tier 2. So out of the 18.5%, I would say only 5% comes to Tier 2 for your Tier 2, which serves as your lump sum after retirement. And 13.5 goes into both your Tier 1 and National Health Insurance Levy. So that is how Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme is funded. Basically, every month, 5%, 5%, 5% from all of us comes into the custodian account, that is CalBank, through controller, and that serves as the pool of funds that are invested. So what is the role of trustees? We talked about the 15-member board of trustees with representation from government and with representation from trade unions. And these trade unions are those that hold the collective bargaining certificate covering all health sector workers. So what is the role of trustees? Trustees follow up on contributions of members with employers. We have certain occasions where Controller and Accountant General Department delays in the release of the monies to the custodian account. And it beholds on us as trustees to follow up at Controller and find out why the monies are delaying. Because with these investments, every day that your money delays, it means you are losing returns on your money. And therefore, we follow up to ensure that monies for certain months that are missing are sent back into the scheme. We ensure auditing of the scheme accounts, and that is on an annual basis. And then we invest funds and pay benefits. I think I've spoken about the investment committee, what the board does in terms of investments. So the trustees invest funds and they pay benefits to those who are entitled to receive benefits. We also keep records. We keep records of members and of all transactions and everything that we do as a scheme. We also submit reports to the MPRA. There are monthly reports that needs to be submitted to the regulatory body. There are quarterly reports and there are annual reports. The trustees are mandated or are tasked to ensure that these reports are delivered on time to the regulatory body. And I was happy when Mr. Joseph Ampofo, the CEO of Enterprise Trustees, in his opening address stated that as far as he is concerned, the health sector occupational pension scheme is the best, and the regulator can attest to that because we ensure that we meet timelines and do what we need to do. Trustees are also tasked to educate members of the scheme, and that is exactly what we are trying to do now. And on top of all this, we have a fiduciary responsibility, and that is to ensure that we put you, the contributors, first in everything that we are doing, such that you don't lose money or that your contributions also grow, such that by the time you are retiring, you have your money intact and it has grown to a point where you can be happy and we can also be happy. So that these are the roles of trustees. Now we'll talk about enrollment. Enrollment is a very important issue for us as Board of Trustees, and enrollment is in two parts: facility enrollment and member enrollment. For facility enrollment, we are very much interested in it, especially because it involves the IGF staff or the casual staff. And therefore, all facilities that have casual staff or IGF staff that they use their own monies to pay them as salaries are expected to enroll or register their facilities by completing an engagement form. And therefore, every health facility, now the system that we have in place, before you can pay the monies or the tier 2 contributions of your IGF staff to the custodian account, that is CalBank, and CalBank also uses GCB to collect these monies. Before you can make these payments, you are required to fill the engagement form that goes to Enterprise Trustees Limited. They register you, and then you would have a unique number that allows you to now pay the contributions of your staff into the scheme. And this is what we expect, that the management of all health facilities who have not enrolled will enroll, so that the monies that come in can also come with a schedule that says that Clement's money is 20 cedis, Hager's money is 10 cedis, or this person's money is this and that, so that the contributions can be allocated to the names of these individuals by Enterprise Trustees Limited. Now, when these facilities have enrolled, automatically then we get to enroll the IGF staff, and then their contributions can be allocated to the individual names in terms of the facilities where they are working. And for this reason, an IGF staff becomes a member of the scheme when the facility enrolls. We also have permanent staff, that is those of us who are paid on government payroll, that is through Controller and Accountant General's departments. Because our contributions come in and it comes into the scheme with a schedule that says that these individuals, these are the amount of monies attached to their names, and these are the monies that are coming in their names as tier 2 contributions, it means that all of us are automatically enrolled. However, this enrollment is kind of partial, because you need to be fully enrolled when you have enrolled, gone through the enrollment as a member of the scheme. And there's a member or individual enrollment form, which all of us have to fill and sign. Once you do that, once you enroll, you receive an enrollment number that is unique to you, and you can use that number plus your telephone number to access your accounts on the stable, that is the platform that helps you to have information and also generate your member statement on the HSOPS website. So you need to enroll so that you can always check your contributions, update your beneficiary list and all that. So apart from the fact that your monies are coming in your name, you need to fully enroll as a member of the scheme. Also, you will need to update your biodata, even that is personal information. And once you complete the member enrollment form, once it gets to the scheme administrator for processing, you become fully enrolled as members of the scheme. It is therefore important that we understand these things so that facility heads can ensure facility enrollment, and we ourselves as contributors and as individual members of the scheme can also take member enrollment seriously and become enrolled. We can get these enrollment forms by downloading it from the HSOPS website, or you can pick a form from any enterprise trustee office, or you can contact any regional HR office for a form. And you can also visit the HSOPS secretariat or your union's office and pick a form from there. It is very important. Let us keep this in mind and ensure that our facilities and as members of the scheme, we are all enrolled. Now, we will give you a little update about the status of the scheme in terms of where we are as we speak. So, as at the first quarter of this year, 2021, the total assets under management, what we shorten as the AUM, the total assets under management was 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. That is how big the scheme is. And out of this 1.7 billion Ghana cedis, which is the total AUM, we have 1 billion, which comprises of the TPFA. The TPFA is a temporary pension fund account. And if you all can recollect, at a point in time, all these contributions, the tier 2 contributions, were going through SNET, and the monies were kept at Bank of Ghana. And after several engagements and even going to the extent of going to court, government released the TPFA monies to all the schemes. And those TPFA monies, as we speak, accounts for 1 billion of the total AUM of the scheme. As at this first quarter, the total membership of the scheme also stood at 154,000. And out of this 154,000, 93% of the contributors are those that are on the Controller and Accountant General Department's platform. So 93% are on government payroll, and only 7% formed the IGF contributors. In terms of registering health facilities where IGF staff are or where casual staff are, as of this first quarter, a total of 445 facilities had been fully enrolled. Additionally, we had up to 1,000 facilities that were still yet to be enrolled. So it means that we have a lot of work to do, and that is why these webinar series are going to be helpful, and we hope that even on this webinar, we have management heads who will now take it up seriously to enroll their facilities. In terms of the scheme, age profile stands at this. We have 62% of contributors who are 36 years and below. 36 years and below, as many as 62%. So you realize that this is a very youthful scheme, and we have a lot of contributors who are going to stay in and work for a very long time before they go on retirement. We also have a little over 2,000 of these contributors which form 1.2%, who are actually due for retirement as at last year and this year, that is 2020 and 2021. So even as we speak, it's very likely that some of those who were due for retirement last year have not yet come in to claim their benefits. So that is on the status of the scheme as at this first quarter of 2021. In terms of fund performance, I'm sure you would want to know how well the scheme is performing. If we have talked about 1.7 billion as assets under management, then how well are we performing? So this slide is showing you where we stood in terms of the fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year, just to let you appreciate what is happening with the scheme. So as at quarter 4 of last year, the year 2020, the net annualized returns stood at 16.7%. And for this quarter, or for the first quarter of this year, it stood at 17.51%. And if you want to know how well our monies or our contributions or our funds are growing, we have to just suppose this against the inflation rate of Ghana. So as at the fourth quarter of 2020, inflation was hovering around 9.8%, and for the first quarter of this year, it was somewhere around 10.3%. So when you look at the net annualized returns and inflation, it meant that the real returns in terms of how well our monies did in terms of the fourth quarter of last year, real return was 6.9%. 6.9%, and it was 6.9% above inflation, meaning that our monies had the opportunity to grow. Now, in terms of the first quarter, the real returns was also 7.21%, and that was 7.21% above the inflation rate of 10.3%, meaning our funds, our contributions was able to grow at least by 7.21%. So this is the fund performance and the returns of the quarter. How well have we done over the period, and what are some of the initiatives that we are putting in place? So the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme now has a fully functional temporary secretariat. I call it temporary because it's temporary, and with support staff. And we host that secretariat at the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association Secretariat and guest house at Zoti Junction, that is behind Kolebu Teaching Hospital. GRNMA has been kind enough to give the scheme a portion where we have established a temporary secretariat, and we are hopeful that within the next few months, next few years, we should be able to have a permanent secretariat somewhere within the city where everybody can work in. And this even temporary secretariat with the support staff allows members to work in and get support for whatever issues that they have. And then in terms of the scheme website, we also have a fully functional, secured, and user-friendly website that provides members with updates on scheme activities and other information related to pensions. And just like the CEO of Enterprise Trustees Limited said, we were the first scheme, the first public sector scheme to have its website, and all the other schemes that came into being had an opportunity to learn a thing or two from our website. And we are doing our best to also update the website as and when necessary so that it will meet current trends. By the kind courtesy of Enterprise Trustees, that is the scheme administrator, there is now a fully fitted mobile van which serves as an office, and this van follows us to everywhere that we go to do education of members or contributors of the scheme. And it is equipped with all the gadgets that allows officers who are in the van to assist contributors, one, to enroll or to update their beneficiary list or to do anything that the officers can actually help them to do. So it is just bringing you the services of the health sector occupational pension scheme to your own doorstep. And this is what we are doing, and we hope that you will help us to do it better. Then we have the online portals. We have a USSD code that allows members to access their accounts or view a lot of things about their contributions or their beneficiaries or their statements. And then we have the web portal, which of course also helps contributors to have access to their contributions in the comfort of their own homes. So these are some of the key initiatives that we have put across. We have actually done a lot, but these are the key ones that we think you should also know so that you appreciate what we are doing as a scheme. So this is just a flash of pictures on the day that the mobile van was commissioned at Enterprise Trustees Limited, and we were there as a scheme to support the cause. And you can see the CEO of Enterprise Trustees. There's a rep from the regulatory authority, and I was there with Gayton as members of the board, and of course a senior officer from Enterprise Trustees Limited was also there. We are hopeful that more vans will be available so that we can reach everywhere. Now, when can you access your Tier 2 benefits as a contributor? One is when you attain mandatory retirement age of 60 years. At 60 years, you can apply for your Tier 2 retirement benefits, and it will be processed and you can be paid. Also, when you go on voluntary retirement at the age of 55 years, you can also apply for your Tier 2 contribution and you will be paid. Also, when we have unfortunate deaths occurring, where health sector workers don't attain the age of 55 or 60 years and they pass on, then of course their beneficiaries have the mandate to now claim the benefits of the deceased health worker. Also, when you are totally incapacitated, such that physically or mentally you cannot work anymore, and this will go through a board, a health board that will ascertain that in fact you are incapacitated, you cannot work anymore. Then once that ruling is given, then your benefits can be paid to you. We also pay Tier 2 benefits to expatriates who are going on permanent immigration. They have come to work in Ghana, made contributions, and now they are going back to their respective countries. We pay them their benefits because it is permanent immigration and it is specifically for expatriates. Now, let's look at the benefit payment process. How do you go through the process of claiming your benefits? An applicant can pick a form from any regional health directorates, and I must say and commend the HR officers. They are doing well. They are assisting us in this direction at the regional offices. You pick a form from there, or you can pick a form from any enterprise office across the country. You can also contact the HSOPS Secretariat at Kolebu, or you can simply visit the HSOPS website, or visit a union office and you can get the form. If you visit the website, you just have to follow the links and you can download the form comfortably in your home or at your own pace at any convenient place. Once that form is downloaded, or you get the form or you access the form, you have to fill it. So you complete the form and then you get your employer to also endorse it for you. Once that form has been endorsed, you submit the application. You can do it online. That is, you scan it and then email it, or you can drop it off at any of the offices that you picked it from, and they will forward it to the Enterprise Trustees Limited, or Enterprise Trustees Limited can go there, pick it up. And if it is your union, the union can also submit it on your behalf. Once you submit the form, it goes through internal processes, which can take up to 1 month. And then by that time, the custodian would have effected payment to you. And that is if we don't have any problems with your application. Everything you filled, the account numbers you gave, your telephone number you gave, everything is correct and there are no mistakes or errors anywhere. Within a month, you should receive your money. And once the money is sent to your account, you as the claimant is notified through SMS about the payments. And then a payment advice is also sent by the custodian to the HSOPS secretariat, and the claimants will receive same from the HSOPS secretariat. And then a report is also periodically sent to MPRA, that is the regulatory body, to let them know that we have made such payments to beneficiaries of the scheme. So this is about the payment process. So I talked about the USSD code, and that is one way of accessing your account. To do this, you can visit the portal through the scheme's website and use the member login to check. Or if you are using the USSD code, then it's a *714*333#. And then you simply follow the prompts. Once you follow the prompts, it will tell you what to do. And at the end of this presentation, we'll be showing you a video that will tell you the step-by-step processes that you have to take if you are using the USSD code to check your accounts. But like I said, you can also visit the member portal through the HSOPS website or through the enterprise app and go through the prompts and the links, and then you can access your accounts and actually know how much you have contributed so far, how much you have. And you can even make projections based on the number of years that you have to work and know how much you can be taking at the end of your retirement. So this is the homepage or the interface of the HSOP website. And that is, if you visit the hsopsghana.com, you will see something like this. And you can contact us. You can see upcoming events. You can see media centers and all that. And you can read something about us as well. And this is how the member online portal, that is the stable, also looks like. And you can visit there. You can see at the top, member sign in, register, or employer sign in. All these are portals that you can use. And then once you follow the prompts, you can access your account and know how much you have contributed to the scheme. So this is how the member statement looks like. The member statement, if you are able to access it through the web portal, will be like this. And it will tell you from the time we started receiving your contributions into the scheme, which was September 2016, month on month, how much money has come in and how much the total of your contributions plus returns looks like. So this is just a sample member statement. So as a scheme, definitely we have challenges. We have initiated, we have key initiatives that we have put in place. We are doing a lot, but we still have challenges. And we are sharing these with you so that you can also help us. If you are on this webinar and you are a management person or you are an ordinary member, you can also help in one way or the other so that we can overcome these challenges. First is the non-enrollment of some health facilities. Some health facilities are not enrolled. And like I said, if they are not enrolled, it means that their IGF staff are not enrolled. So we need facilities to enroll so that the IGF staff or the casual staff can be enrolled. And let us take note, it has legal implications. If you are having workers that you are not paying their pension contributions on, the law can catch up with you, and it will be a great embarrassment. And therefore, all these things must be avoided. Then we also have facilities who are paying contributions to the scheme without the requisite data on the contributors. So you have some facilities who may be paying and have not attached a schedule, but that was more in the past. And since we instituted certain mechanisms, it will be very difficult for you to make any payments to Cal Bank or to GCB when you have not attach the schedule that will go to enterprise trustee, or enterprise trustee has not enrolled you or registered you, and for that matter, you will not be able to make such payments. Then we also have outstanding issues on the TPFA data. So like I mentioned earlier, the monies were at Bank of Ghana, the Nana Akufo-Addo government in its first term paid those monies to all the schemes. However, it did not come with a proper schedule that said, we have you, Perpetual, has this amount of money and these are your contributions. But over time, some work has been done. And I must say, where we are now, we are not fully done, but we are almost done, such that that is what is even informing the payments of the 100% of TPFA contributions to members. So if you were here at the beginning, the MPRA boss mentioned that the regulatory body as the law institution mandated to regulate pensions, mandated or tax the schemes to initially pay 80% of this TPFA and later also directed that we pay the 20%. So now the 100% is being paid, and those who were earlier paid 80% have been paid the 20%, and we don't have any outstanding issues on that. But of course, we need to finalize it, the report that we use, that is the institution that was tasked to actually do the work on the TPFA and submit the report. That report has to be finalized and everything endorsed by all parties. So those are some of the outstanding issues on the TPFA. And then we have delays in the payment of contributions. Sometimes employers delay, and it is our responsibility as trustees to follow up. But if you are a health facility and you are paying contributions on behalf of IGF staff, it is the law. The law is very straight on this, and you should not delay. By the 14th day of the ensuing month, all these monies should have been paid for the employee, so that the contributions can be duly invested and returns can be made on those monies. Sometimes we have government as an employer also delaying in the payment of these contributions, and we follow up as trustees to ensure that those monies are released to our custodian accounts. So despite these challenges, what is our outlook for 2021, in the sense that what are we looking out for in this year and even in the coming years? We are hoping to improve member and facility enrollment. We are hoping to improve member education, and that is why the webinar series is in place. We are hoping to improve benefit payment process. We hope to finalize the TPFA reconciliation and also improve consumer experience. And therefore, if it's visiting our website or using the USSD code or wherever that you are trying to reach us, we hope to improve the consumer experience so that you can all be happy and we can also be happy. What do we expect of HSOPS members, or what do we expect of contributors of the scheme? We need each and every contributor or every employee within the health sector to be interested in your Tier 2 contributions. And it doesn't have to start when you have only 5 years to retirement. It must start on the day you enter the health sector, and you must carry that interest along till the day you retire. And we need every member to enroll, whether IGF or controller staff, to enroll, controller paid member to enroll as a member of the scheme by filling and submitting the member enrollment form. And we also expect that As a contributor, you regularly check your statement of account and follow up with your employer where necessary. So for those on the controller payroll, if you check your accounts, you may see that some months were not allocated. There are some that we can easily follow up, but there are times that you must also check your pay slips every month and be sure that all your contributions are coming in month after month. Then we also need you to update your beneficiary list as and when your status changes. And this is very, very important. You must use the available portals to update your beneficiary list. Maybe you started work when you were not married, you didn't have children, and now your status has changed. At the time, you may have used your nieces and nephews as your beneficiaries, or use your brother or your sister or your mother or your father. And now you are married, you have children, or at a point you are widowed, or at a point you are divorced, or so many things can happen within your personal life, within your working life, and therefore the beneficiary list needs to be updated periodically. And you alone can do this. We cannot do it for you. If you walk into our office, yes, we can help you to do it. Or if you find a mobile van anywhere and you want them to help you, they can do it. But you can do this at the comfort of your home, at the comfort of your office, or anywhere that you want to do this and update your beneficiary list. We also need you as contributors to support the Board of Trustees to be able to deliver quality services to you. And you can do this by ensuring that you are enrolled, by updating your beneficiary list. Do these little things that we are talking about. And by so doing, you'll be supporting the Board of Trustees to provide you with the best of services. So how can you contact the HSOPS Secretariat? These are our contact numbers. You can directly call 0302-690-802, or you can call 055-2989-696, and somebody will pick up, listen to you, and help solve your problem. You can also email us at info@hsopsghana.com. Our location, as I said earlier, is currently at the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Greater Accra branch, that is Zoti Junction, behind Kolebu Teaching Hospital. You can also visit the website at www.hsopsghana.com, and you can have information about the scheme, information about your contribution. You can also write to us and send us any document at PO Box KB 997 Kolebu, Accra. We also work hand in hand with the scheme administrator, and you can call Enterprise Trustees Limited on this call center number 0302-634-704. You can also email them at info.trustees@enterprisegroup.com.gh. Enterprise trustee offices are at airports, Rage, High Street, Tema, Takrade, Tamale, Kumasi, and they are still in the process of expanding their territory. So in the meantime, you can reach any of their branches at these areas and you receive the requisite support. You can also visit the Enterprise website at www.enterprisegroup.net.gh/trustees. You can also use the USSD platform that I mentioned, that is *714*333# and follow the prompts by using your phone. So at this time, we want you to just watch this short video, which will educate you on how to use the USSD code, and then we'll continue.
I'm a health worker in Ghana. As a public health worker, each month, 5% of your base salary is paid as your Tier 2 contribution to the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme, HSOPS. HSOPS is the Tier 2 pension scheme for all health sector employees. But do you know how much your payments amount to so far? Are your contributions up to date? Let me show you how you can access and check your statements at your comfort anytime and anywhere. Using a phone, you can check your contribution summary statement via the USSD code *714*333#. Follow steps. 1. Dial *714*333# on your phone. 2. Members select option 2 for My Accounts. 3. Enter PIN or 0 to create a new PIN. 4. Enter 1 to use your current phone number if it is linked to your account, or enter another phone number. 5. Enter your date of birth, day, month, year. 6. Enter a 4-digit PIN. 7. Enter 1 to use current phone number. 8. Select member ID. 9. Select 2 for account information. How to log into member online portal is stable. 1. Log on to www.hsopsghana.com. 2. Click member login. 3. Click register. 4. Enter required details. 5. Click register now. 6. Keep your password generated as you would need it. 7. An activation code will be sent to the provided cell phone number. Make sure it matches what is in our database. 8. Enter the code you receive on the phone and click activate. Once your account is activated, you will be redirected to the login page where you will key in your cell phone number and the password. With access to your statements at any time, you can plan for the future, monitor your accounts from anywhere, and enjoy the assurance and peace of mind that each HSOPS contributor deserves.
So that is the short video. Thank you very much for listening. And it is Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme, Retire with a Smile. Thank you very much for listening. And we will now move on to the Q&A session. Thank you. Over to you, Franklin.
Retire with a smile. Thank you, Sister Perpetua Ofori Ampofo. There are a couple of questions here that Pep, I know you are on standby to respond to these questions. Unfortunately, most of the people did not put their names, but still, you and your questions will be live here. Adam Yushau says, oh, this program is very educative, and he thinks that we should do this very often because most of them don't know. Oh, Adams, try as much as possible to leave your contact. We will contact you and then come to your doorstep as you suggest. The next person says that, oh, what happens to those contributions that started before the scheme was set up? Sister Pep, would you answer to this question before I go on to the next one, please? What happens to those who started before the establishment of these Tier 2 pension schemes?
Franklin, I will address that. I think we lost our Pep.
Chair, you take it up.
Okay. Yes. So those who's, when we talk about contributions before the scheme started in 2010, those ones are still with SNIT. And at the moment, the arrangement is that upon retirement, SNIT will put all of that together as another lump sum. That's what we call the past credits. So those who are going on retirement currently, they are receiving contributions that have come to the scheme from 2010 till the date of retirement. And then from whatever time you started working up to the end of 2009, you receive that as past credit, which will be paid to you by SNIT. So it still remains with SNIT. And when you check your SNIT statement, you will find it on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, for answering this question for me. Another person says, oh, is the ZOTI, what time of the day is the ZOTI office opened? Oh, you can go there on normal office hours from Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., my brother. But the next question that is here is that, is it possible for one to opt out of the scheme and request that his monies be paid through their salaries? Interesting one there. Pep, are you going to pick it up?
Okay. Okay. Franklin, so I'm just wondering why this person will want to opt out of a good scheme like this. That notwithstanding, unfortunately, you cannot opt out. Tier 1 and Tier 2, as she said, they are mandatory schemes. As long as you are below the age of 60 and you are working, you're supposed to make a mandatory contribution to Tier 1 or Tier 2. And so you cannot opt out. The whole idea is so that you don't get into pension, you don't get into retirement and become a burden to society. So the law has made it mandatory that these contributions should be put down until such a time when you are unable to work any longer or you have actually gone on retirement. So you cannot have it all in your salary at the moment. It's not allowed. The law doesn't allow it.
Okay, thank you. Good one there. There's another question which says, looking at the way on which one can access the funds, does it mean one would have to go on retirement, be deceased, be incapacitated before he or she can have the contributions? If yes, then I think that modality would have to be reviewed. We can't wait to go on retirement, die, or become incapacitated before we can have access to our monies that we have contributed. Oh, my brother, Chairman has just responded to that one. So the next question is...
So the additional thing is, you see, we all need to know that there is actually even the third tier, which is personal pensions. Which after a number of years, you can actually request for a portion to do whatever arrangement you need. Additionally, you can make savings, you can make investments, which you can actually use in times of need. But this is for retirement. These are pensions, and pensions, you only access them when you retire, or you have those other qualifications that have been adduced earlier. So this is not money for you to use in current hard times. I think it is meant to be saved for your pensions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm
sure she will address the other ones. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, sorry, just to add, the scheme does not, the rules that are currently governing the scheme does not allow, so it's not the board that has decided that you cannot have access to any of your funds. The rules that guard the scheme are such that the board can only go by those particular rules. So unless there's a change in the law which allows partial withdrawals on tier 2 for the benefit of any other reason, that is when the board can then administer. But these rules were not set by the board, just to give some clarity so people don't feel as though it's the board that set these rules and does not want them to be able to benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Big Joe. Like he said, pension is about law, and that is what the law says. The next question is, why do we have to pay 2.5% towards health insurance when we go to pay for renewal each month, and we are not treated free when national health insurance cannot cover? So the person says he is tired of paying 2.5% of his monies monthly towards health insurance. Sister Pep, will you take up that question, please?
Okay, so it's just like in relation to the same pension issue. It's the law. Laws governing these things makes it very difficult for any individual to make any change. And it's the law that stipulates that out of the 13.5%, the 13.5%, 2.5% will go into the national health insurance levy. It's a way that I would say government is using to also raise revenue. And we cannot do much about it. It's a law, and that is how it has to be.
Thank you, my dear.
Frankly, the
yes,
other thing is, when it comes to payment of for renewal of the NHIS, those in the formal sector usually do not pay these ones. It's once you are contributing, it's those the informal sector. So if you have, let's say you come to your facility, once you are making regular contributions, you many times so we used to pay for the cards. So I think the idea of all these is to be able to raise funds to fund health care provision. And I think the law was right in putting these things. The main thing is for us as citizens to make sure these funds are being used rightly and for the right cause.
Okay, thank you. The next question tells all of us that there is more that needs to be done. His question is, I hope this will not become one of those systems where people are placed under the scheme and making deductions without informing them or without they agreeing to terms and conditions. Oh, we have a lot on our hands. I didn't take it up.
So you see, it comes back to the issue of Act 766 as amended. The laws governing pensions are very clear. And the states, as it were, does not need your permission in order to get you prepared for your pension. It is the state's responsibility to ensure that when anybody is going on retirement, the person receives a certain package, a lump sum, and then in your retirement, you can also receive monthly monies that can be as your pension salary every month to keep you going till you die. So there is no way that we are turning this into a scheme that does not require your input or anything like that. No, the laws of the land, and it's not only in Ghana, it's across jurisdictions. That is how it is when it comes to pensions. You contribute, and then at the end of your working life, at your retirement, you take this as a lump sum and as monthly salary. But of course, you have a role as a contributor, and that is where you have to be interested in. And that is to ensure that you are involved. By getting periodic updates, you also get to ensure that you are enrolled. You can check your member statements, you check your pay slips every month to ensure that your contributions are coming in. But there is no way that the state or the board of trustees needs to come and ask you for your permission before these contributions can be taken or invested on your behalf. Over to you, Franklin.
Thank you. The next question is from Isaac. He says, how do I renew NHIS card using this particular scheme since we are covered by it? Interesting questions there.
I think Chairman can handle this for us.
Okay, I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but I think someone asked the issue about the NHIA contributions. The NHIA has to do with health insurance, and it is completely different from pensions. The idea of the 2.5 contribution as part of the 18.5 contributions that go into supporting the NHIA, it's all meant to raise funds. And I stated earlier, and it's clear, that those of us in the formal sector, we do not pay any premiums when it comes to renewal of NHIA. And so it's the informal sector who do not have evidence to support regular contributions who pay. And so you cannot use your tier 2 to pay for your NHIA. It doesn't happen. They are completely separate things. Thank you.
Thank you for answering this one. Gosway Atakpa. is suggesting that, oh, we should make sure we do more of this and also use the database of their phone numbers to invite members to be part of this webinar. It is very educative for him. Another anonymous person says, what happens to those who started? Oh, wow. This question has already been answered. Let me look. Okay. Please take this question up. It says, does the delay in payment by Controller and Accountant General affect my retirement benefits? Whose fault and why should I pay for that? Very legitimate question.
Over to you, Chairman.
Yes, okay, so thank you, Franklin. So when it comes to delays in payment of contributions from Controller, as anytime we calculate gains or returns on investment daily. So the very day you start putting in contributions, you start making profits on it. So if there are delays in your payments, there definitely there will be some lost return. That's why we try as much as possible to follow with government, with Controller, and then the other employers to be able to pay as quickly as possible. So, I mean, as to whose fault, I shouldn't, I'm not sure I'm in a position to say, but that notwithstanding, we impress upon government. Sometimes genuinely they raise the issue about funds, but of course it is an obligation that government is supposed to pay, not just government, all facility heads who have IGF staff by the 14th day of the ensuing month, they should have paid your contributions. So any day that delays after that, your funds, you lose retirement income because you lose return on the contributions. And so basically that is what it is. We would continue to engage these contributors when you have, these employers, when you have the opportunity, you also want to impress upon them to pay and to pay on time so that you can have a good return on your contribution. Thank you.
Okay, so Stephen, that was an answer to your question. MFA says, please, what happens when you go on steady leave without pay for a year? Hence, the contributions stop coming for that period. And then when you resume later, what happens?
Okay, MFA, so when you go on steady leave without pay, it means that you are not receiving any pay. But I think that Obi can help us here as a representative of the Ghana Health Service. So if you can throw more light on this.
Hello, Pep.
Yes.
Continue, Obi.
Okay. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, continue.
Okay, so just as you started, once you take leave without pay, it means that your name is suspended on the payroll, which means that at the end of each month, you are not going to receive salary as you used to be. But in case the leave is to enable you to take another employment and you are going to earn income somewhere, then you can make that payment yourself. Otherwise, then your contribution to the fund is going to stop until such a time that you return and your name is reactivated on the payroll. So that is what happens. So when you are talking about taking leave without pay, you should also look at the possible implications on all that, including your earnings as far as pension is concerned. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, MFA. So it means that you are not going to pay any penalty because you stopped paying. whatever you contributed will still be earning interest. It will be there for you. And anytime you come back and you continue, it will continue as well. Oh, there are no more questions in the chat room. You can send your questions, your comments now so that we address them. In the absence of any questions, I'll still give the floor to the panelists out there if you have anything to tell members in way of educating us. So over to you, Pep, if you have something to tell us.
Well, I think that there are a lot of things that we have learned today, but we did not get a lot of, we did not get a very high number of participants that we were expecting. So I just want to send this message out to those who are on this webinar, that future webinars of the HSOPS will still be using the Microsoft Teams. And therefore, you need to download it on your phone, you need to download it on your laptop, so that any future webinar of the HSOPS, you can join conveniently. I saw that on some of our platforms, people were having difficulty, and I assume some may not have downloaded the app and were still trying to use the link on the flyer to join the meeting. So just send that message out to your colleagues at work. What you have heard today, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with them and be in readiness for the next webinar of the HSOPS. And that means that get prepared by having the app on your phone or on your laptop, so that when it's time, you can conveniently join. Thank you.
Thank you too. I'm trying to flip through to see if there are new questions. There are still no more questions. Would I turn back to you, Chairman Derek Amwating, to please tell us something if you have.
Okay, Franklin, I think before that, going through the Q&A on the other side, there are a few other issues. Someone is asking about, will my contributions be paid to me if I would want to travel outside the country with no intention to come back? We mentioned that when it comes to permanent immigration, it has to do with expatriates. So long as you are Ghanaian, I think the law does not allow you to benefit from that. It's assumed that ultimately you may want to come back, but at any point when you retire, no matter how long it takes, your funds will still be available and will continue to make yield profits for you. So that should be noted. And then someone is asking about, how do I reconcile the accounts if there are disparities in the deduction for the text from enterprise trustees? Basically, you can contact info.trustees@enterprisegroup.com.gh or any of the portals we shared. We share it on it's actually available on our website. You can always find this information there. So these are things you can find. Then, so when can I start the payment process? Is it at some 3-month to retirement, or when I finally retire? Okay, so I'm sure you're asking about when you can start the benefit claim process. The benefit claim process at the moment, our plan is that you could gather all the data, all of it, but as soon as you receive your last salary, you put in the request. The reason is at the moment we process retirement benefit as soon as we receive the last contribution from controller. Occasionally, if it delays, we go ahead to process and we pay the rest later. And so as soon as you have you retire, you go ahead and then you apply, and then we would make sure you receive your contributions. What provisions are made for those who voluntarily retire? Yes, so there is room for voluntary retirement after 55 years, and you can actually benefit from it's just as though you are going on full pension or full retirement. There are no deductions if you voluntarily retire on whatever grounds before 60. And once it happens, you can actually benefit from all that you have contributed, plus whatever yield or whatever interest you have. Okay. I think these are some of the questions. Franklin, if you have some more, you can look at it whilst I run through the rest.
Thank you. I don't have more from my end, but if you still have some questions, Chairman, permission is granted, so you can continue to address them. Then we can wrap up. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so sharing the video, you can share the video. We will share the video with you. You can find it on our website as well. Yeah, you can find that on our website as well. Okay, well, somebody wants a little clarity on the past credits. It's simple. So say I started working in 1980. I started working in 1980. And I'm due to retire in 2021. So you realize that this tier 2 system started from 2010. So all your contributions from 2010 till you retire in 2021 or 2022 will be paid by us as one lump sum. But you have been working from 1980 up to 2009 December. So you would have been making some payments there, which hasn't come to us. Those funds remain with SNIT, and SNIT will use a certain formula to work out that calculation and make that payment to you separately. So you end up receiving 2 lump sums, one from us and then one from SNIT, so that together it becomes the total lump sum we are supposed to have been paying. So at some point, when all the outstanding ones with SNIT are paid, it will only be left with just the tier 2, and then you would actually see the full benefits of this 3-tier system. Okay. Okay, somebody talked about retire last year, May. Is it SNIT which has to pay me tier 2? No, SNIT will pay you lump sum, but SNIT will pay you past credit, but we will pay you the rest of your tier 2 pay. So if you haven't applied, please do so now, and you would have your funds coming to you. I think why the government place some public servants on cap 30, I think, and then others on tier 3 scheme, we are all public servants, knowing very well. Okay, I think this discussion, maybe if the CEO of NPRA is on, may make a comment on that. But ultimately, it is, I mean, like I mentioned, it is the law, and we would go by the law, what the law allows. Okay, I think lastly, where is our data gotten from that? From that, our information are not being used to disseminate information. Oh, okay, so we actually have, so long as you have fully enrolled, you should be hearing from us regularly. We send messages when we allocate your contribution. Sometimes we broadcast messages to individuals. So if you are not receiving, it's most likely you are not fully enrolled, then we may not have your email or your text, your phone number. So go through to the website, and then you can fill the enrollment form or pick up a form, fill it, and then you can even screenshot and then send online, or just go online and fill it. And once you do this, or you go through the process to use the ET number to fill on the website. When you go to the website, all the portals are there. Once you fill it, you will start receiving regular text messages. Occasionally, there may be delays. We are trying to work at it, but ultimately, you should be having information from us. I think this exhausts the discussion our time is very fast and we don't intend staying beyond 5, so we should end it here.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, everyone. But before I formally close the meeting, I want the chairman of the Health Sector Occupational Pension Scheme to give his closing remarks. Then we can bring curtains down.
Okay, but before that, if Mr. Atakofi is still on, maybe I'll give a minute to say a few concluding remarks and I'll come in. Is he still on? Okay. Okay, so I think he's muted. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for today. It's been such an exciting time. It's great to see all of you join us for this webinar. As I said earlier, the intention was to let you know all that is happening. A lot of people are completely at sea when it comes to Tier 2 pensions. And I am glad that today we have shared some useful information. The idea is for you to get interested in your pensions, and not just Tier 2, but all other forms of pensions, including your personal pensions. Because ultimately it is these that will ensure very good retirement income security, and we will all retire with a smile. Thank you, and God bless you all. And we want to say a very big thank you to the CEO of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, the MD of VTL, and all those who were able to make it, to join and to make this a success. Thank you very much, and may God richly bless you. Amen. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I will ask that, Joe, you just give us just a word. Normally when the chairman speaks, it ends it, but I want to give you the last word.
Well, okay. Thank you so much. So I'll end by the fact that since we started doing the payouts for retirement, we've seen the amounts that are being paid out for Tier 2. And we're asking ourselves to try to do some simulation. If these individuals had started putting something in their Tier 3 fund, as at by the time from 2013 till now, probably they would have left with a lot more than they had in a Tier 3 fund as well. So we are requesting that, and the whole idea about the reform is to ensure that, yes, your Tier 1 will pay you your monthly pension when you go on retirement. Your Tier 2 would give you a certain lump sum, and we also expect you to utilize, and you also have a Tier 3. Then you can have the retirement income security that was discussed. So the encouragement is, please, all of us in the health sector, let us encourage to set up personal pension schemes, even if our institution or union doesn't have a provident fund. We should just set up a personal pension scheme, and it's very easy to do. Dial *714*333#, and you are there. It was a simple way within which to enroll onto an enterprise personal pension scheme, and that you determine at your own rate. You can do by a Momo every month, you can do every 2 months, every 3 months, but even some people also say anytime they go on seminars and all those things that they get some per diem, they divide it to and put that one into that personal pension, and it builds up as you go along. By the end of the day, this has been a fantastic journey for me, getting to engage with all of you, and I believe that we'll do a lot more of this as we go along. So thank you all for your time, and then also thank you for saving Ghana and for saving all of us. Your sacrifice to the nation, as far as I'm concerned, is unprotected. There's no other institution that puts its life on the lives other than health sector workers. So thank you, and I will always love to be of service to the family of the health sector workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay tuned to this webinar. One is coming to your doorstep soon. And on that note, let's pray to close the meeting. Lord God Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, we want to thank you. We want to bless you for such a wonderful time.
Yeah, come.
We began in your name, and we want to believe you have ended well with us. All that we say is stay with us, protect us, guard and guide us till we call the next webinar. Shario, Franklin Owusu-Ansah, your moderator for today's section. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all so much. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mr. Takrofi. Everybody, all Board of Trustees here. Thank you, attendees. God bless you all. And make sure you join us next time.
Thank you. I think we